Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Miracle Guidance. I'm Carmen Harra, live every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Home Time. So tonight, I want to help you access the higher dimension, the universe, the invisible side, the other side. Now, each of us has, in my opinion, a guardian angel or a loved one on the other side who is protecting us, sometimes opening door for us. And this could be, as I said, a late loved one or an ancestral guide who keeps watching. Your own guide, your own angel works to ensure your well-being and brings you wishes to reality. And I've always tried to make this understand and believe in this. And you've all tried to get assistance from the non-physical world into the physical world. And chances are that you are tuning into the other dimension to get help when you're in a difficult situation. And I'm going to give you my example that just happened to me recently. So when you don't know which way to go, you always ask the divine to step in and show you the way. Maybe you prayed to your late mother when you were in crisis. Maybe you prayed to your dad, to rescue you from a bad place. We do exist beyond the physical reality because we are beams of light. We're made of energy. Energy doesn't really die. So spirits exist. They protect us. They try to, to give all the positive thing in our life, and steer wealth and positive energy to make our life go in the right direction. So they make sure to be available for us when we need help because they are tied to us by love and by our memory. And I'm giving you this example that it just happened to me. So my dog, Valentino, he was 14 years old, going towards 15. And of course, dogs don't live more than 15 years. He was aging, he was getting sick, and I couldn't put the dog to sleep. I just couldn't do it. And I said, there has to be a miracle, for this dog. And I did everything in my power. I had a doctor coming every second day to assist the dog. We were doing all kinds of therapies and everything to help him get better. And up to the last moment, I was hoping he will get better. Now, my husband is buried in New York, and I haven't been in New York in a while with this pandemic, but my daughter left to New York. And she's calling me from her dad's grave, and she said, I'm praying here for our dog so that my dad makes the dog better, helps him get better, makes the dog survive this suffering and improve and get better. And while she was talking to me, I look at my dog who's just been eating 5 minutes ago and seemed to be okay. He looked in my eyes, and in that moment, my dog took his last breath and died. And even now I have chills when I tell you this story because this dog was my best friend. He helped me. He was the one who knew when my husband is going to die. So by that time when my husband got cancer, the dog was the one signaling all the problem. And 2 days prior to my husband passing, the dog allowed us to know, precisely that this is going to happen. And so my dog was very connected to my husband. And after my husband passing, I felt the dog suffering. And when my dog died, just right in that moment when my daughter was praying to his spirit to help the dog, to me it was just such a clear message that yes, we were heard, he saw what's going on and he wanted to help us. So as I said, the invisible world exists in many planes of existence. And this invisible world is around us all the time. And this realm is in a different dimension that goes beyond the sensory, where there is no limitation of space, no time. It's only infinite. And we call that place the place of the continuous time. because there are no boundaries and no limitation. And between the visible and the visible world, there is a boundary, but this boundary can be crossed. The invisible world is where we all come from, is where we all return, when our bodies are not good anymore. So in the physical world, our ancient soul take on a temporary form in this human body. And we go day by day, learning our lessons. But in the divine world, as I said, there is no pain, no bills to pay, no HMO, no PPO, no pressure, no loss, no nothing. There is no grieving on the other side because everybody's together. So if a soul wants to check on a soul that's temporary in a human form, he easily can do it. That's why I believe spirit and angel on the other side don't feel the disconnect. We feel the disconnect. They are here, sitting probably near us. Probably my husband is looking at me from the couch right now. But our loved ones try in so many ways to show us that they are present, that they want to help. So what I'm going to try tonight in the show is to eventually connect you to somebody who's on the other side, or try to teach you how to communicate with a soul on the other side and what exactly you need to do. Because according to the ancient teaching, you cannot disturb a spirit after his passing for 40 days because the soul is in that transition. We used to say that in the ancient teaching, 40 days, it takes the brain to completely stop working. So long time ago, thousands of years ago, we were not burying the body 3 days later. We were not burning the body. We were just leaving the body on the ground or somewhere in a place for 40 days to make sure that the ending of the activity, the waves in the brain, are completely over 40 days. Though that's the symbol of the religion, 40 days in Egypt, 40 days fasting, 40 days to Jesus Christ to get on the other side. Many cases show that, okay, you bury a body 3 days, after 3 days, and there were cases in which, okay, they had to open the grave, and this found out that the body was turned upside down. People who woke up, from a, God knows, a coma, an apparent, physical death that was just not 100%, and they woke up being buried. So that's what I'm saying. This is a crazy topic, but for some reason I feel like telling you this. But even in the most difficult moment, it feels like impossible to believe that your angel is actually with you. So it's all about a matter of belief. But a lot of people don't believe this. They don't believe there's anything beyond this world. But when you have examples like the one I'm giving you, and I have many examples like this that I can give to you that will shock you. And I think you probably have your own example. And if you do, just feel free to call 202-570-7057. I want to hear your experience. If you experience something like this after you lost somebody, I want to hear your story. But only by believing you can draw this heavily energy into your life and truly feel its effect. And this is like the hardest part of the battle. But by understanding that separation from the physical world is not the end, only that way you can overcome the disbelief. So we used to say, well, I believe it when I see it, and I am saying always see it to believe it. So when you initially make contact with the spirit or with an angel, you have to continue to do. You have to continue to speak to that particular person that is no more in the physical world, because they can hear you. Many times spirits, they do come in dreams. You dream of somebody who just died. The root of all grief is the human-made notion that someone we loved has left our life. But there is no such things, because all loss is temporary. Loved ones who have passed on, they leave indication that they are still with us. Maybe you saw a man walking down the street who looks exactly like your late brother, or maybe you noticed that something moved from one room in your house and you cannot explain, or that the lights, this happened to me many times, the lights are on when you actually remember very well turning them off. So please don't disregard the signs. They all clear symbols from the ones who continue to love us and guide us after their passing. So when you do get signs, stop that. Whatever you're doing, stop it. Stay still and concentrate on your loved one. Notice whether you feel their presence, like you feel a wind, an energy, something that exists there but doesn't have a physical form. So it's fascinating, I almost feel like we've been adopted by angels, and all of us, we have different angels who figuratively adopted us. Sometimes people come to me asking me for specific information from the universe. People want to know the location of someone who died, or they want to find out if that person was murdered, or if the death was a result of a homicide or suicide or an accident. And in many cases, I feel like somebody's providing me the information. So sometimes, the spirit chooses to tell the story of exactly what happened and give all the details. And sometimes I also ask the person I'm talking to keep those spirits in mind, because it's so important to keep that connection going in order to create healing. We want to be healed when we feel that kind of a pain of losing somebody we love so much. So having said that, I want you to feel free to ask for signs that will reassure you of an angel presence, and invite them to visit, to do. Sometimes, leave them a glass of water or their favorite drink or something to eat on a table. You might think this is crazy, but I do believe that if they do exist, but not in the physical form, they will actually see your gesture, and they're capable to see what you left for them. And they might have a sense of joy and pleasure, when they look at that particular glass of wine that they like when they were here. And if a late loved one suddenly comes to mind, quiet your mind and open your heart to feelings of that person and say, I love you, I miss you, I am thinking about you. So in this way, you will be able to establish, it's all about establishing a contact with that person. So it's just so magic, so beautiful to be in touch with the people on the other side, because they should not frighten you. You only want to acknowledge their presence. And the more you allow the divine into your heart and into your thoughts, the more you will be guided through your problem and through your concern. So as you open yourself to receiving messages from those who are no longer with you, the healing process will become easier. And I'll teach you how you can actually establish a connection with the divine yourself, so you can do it on your own. But I also want to let you know very briefly about my new book that just came out. As you know, my book was actually launched in the last 10 days, and my book is called Committed: Finding Love and Loyalty Through the 7 Archetypes. Now, commitment is a problem for most people, and love relationships, have sometimes a lot of problems. So what exactly is commitment and why it is so hard to achieve? Because we've all struggled in love. But if you're ready to end this cycle of disappointment and foster a fulfilling relationship, then this book is a manual. It makes you reevaluate the way you think about love. It is a manual that unfolds in 2 parts. At first, this book shows you step by step the work you need to perform on the inside and the 7 archetypes you will encounter on the outside world. So committed will help you learn to, as I said, re-examine core beliefs, relinquish harmful assumptions, clear the karmic patterns that have been passed down to you, and heal the emotional trauma, liberate from people and places that no longer serve you, and develop an unshakable sense of self-worth so that you give love not just to another person, but to the right person. And the second part of the book, I want to teach you something that it took me years, to came up as a concept, to identify your partner's archetype, meaning his strength, his weaknesses, his mindset, his inclination, his commitment capacity, and determine your own love archetype and see, is my archetype a match to my partner's archetype? So you will also be able to make your partner commit based on his needs, his fears, his desires, and build emotional intimacy. There's a big chapter in this book about emotional intimacy, which is the glue to every relationship. I spoke many times on the radio about emotional intimacy and how significant that is if we want a relationship to last. So the goal of this book is to help you find and keep the love you deserve. You want to have an authentic, impassioned relationship, filled with excitement each morning, and putting your mind at ease every night. So Committed is available at Amazon, and believe it or not, it's still 99 cents. I still cannot believe this. But if you want to get it on Kindle, you go to Amazon, put Committed by Dr. Carmen Harra, and Alexandra Harra, my daughter, who helped me so much. She's a great writer, so she helped me put this book together. So two generations, we came with a whole concept of what commitment is all about. And I want you to know that if you buy it at Amazon, you can write me a review if you like the book, and I will really be grateful, appreciate that.